So good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Autism Training and Technical Assistance Project webinar. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We do appreciate your time. My name is Kirsten Bayer, and I'm with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University. I'll be on for your moderator and technical support today. Today's topic is Transition Summit. What's the next step? So we are joined today by Janelle Horton and Dr. Kirk Rhodes. I'll let them introduce themselves here in 1 second. Just going to offer some housekeeping items before we get started. Janelle, if you want to go to the next slide for me, I would appreciate it. So again, my name is Kirsten Bayer. I'm the Digital Communications Manager here at ICSPS. We have a multitude of projects, but one that is very near and dear to our heart is the Autism Training and Technical Assistance Project. We partner with the Illinois State Board of Education to facilitate this project, and we provide professional development and a whole slew of things. If you want to go to the next slide, Janelle, I'll talk a little bit more about our project. So we present resources, we provide professional development. We do this monthly webinar series, which is typically every second Tuesday of the month. Sometimes it varies, but we send out professional development marketing with resources and to highlight our webinars. So that way, that's probably how you all registered for today. And our project is very niche. So we really focus on the transition from either secondary to post-secondary or the transitional piece from secondary to the workforce. And so providing support and resources and professional development for employers, for community members, for family members, and for the secondary and post-secondary educators to really support those individuals with autism or autistic individuals to help transition them from either secondary to post-secondary education or from secondary to the workforce. So really providing that training and support for that equitable experience for those individuals with autism or autistic individuals. Thank you, Janelle. So our center is the one who provides and assists the Illinois State Board of Education with this project. So the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support is who we are. That is my team. ICSPS is our very long acronym, which I'm sure coming from either the educator side or even just being in the autism world and community, whether you're a community member or a family member joining us today, you're very familiar with acronyms. So ICSPS, we in whole provide technical assistance, we develop publications and resources, we facilitate in-person, hybrid, and virtual professional development, and we focus on improvement strategies, specifically to focus on college transition, recruitment, retention, and completion. And so we have been founded at Illinois State University since 1977, so our center has been around for quite some time. And we are in the Educational Administration and Foundations Department here at ISU in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois. You want to go to the next slide for me, Janelle? Thank you. So this is our website. And so our website, autismcollegeandcareer.com, which I can put the direct hyperlink in the chat here momentarily so you can directly click on it, is where you will find all of our professional development, all of our recordings. From many years since this project has been available, we have resources organized on the website by stakeholders. So you can, if you're a family member, you can click on the family member stakeholder box, and it will take you to a slew of resources that we've provided, some that we've developed from our team, some that we've just provided as a kind of a one-stop shop for you to access those resources. And so that website is also where the recording from today will be housed. So you can view the recording from today if you have a colleague who couldn't join today, or if you need to step out, you're only able to join us for a short amount of time today, you will have access to the recording on our website there. It typically is available within about 48 working business hours to allow for editing and edits of closed captioning, things like that. So please allow us that time, but we will have it up there for you. Tomorrow you will receive a follow-up email from Zoom, and it will have that direct link to where the recording is, as well as the presentation from today. So you can kind of view that and then also peruse our past professional development as well. We have some awesome sessions on there and some really good ones coming this summer as well. So if you want to see what's coming up this summer, you can register for our upcoming webinars on that same website there. Again, we are funded by the Illinois State Board of Education. So you're good, Janelle. So we want to highlight them as our funders who are helping us put this project on. So I'm going to continue with our beginning polls today. So I'm going to go ahead and launch those now. And as an attendee, you should be able to take them both if you just scroll down. So the first one is, which region are you located in? So we would love to know where you're joining us from today. If you're in the northern part of the state, southern part of the state, or statewide. And then also, which stakeholder do you best represent? So you should be able to take those polls now. Then we'll give everyone about a minute to do that. And while you're answering those polls, I also want to highlight that today's session is on Zoom webinar. So you as an attendee cannot unmute yourself, but we do have the option to interact with you via the chat or the Q&A. So please feel free to type any comments or questions in either one of those functions, and I'll be monitoring those. We'll have some time at the end of the presentation for questions for Janelle and Dr. Rhodes. So they would love to converse with you in that manner. And then we also have closed captioning on today for accessibility reasons, so feel free to turn that on as well. Give everyone a couple more seconds here. And the second question, you can choose all that apply. So if you are a secondary educator, but you also are a family member of somebody on the spectrum, feel free to click both. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end that poll, share the results. So it looks like some of you who are joining us today were unable to answer the polls, so no big deal. But the ones who did are joining us from Northern Illinois or even out of state. And then we have some secondary and post-secondary educators, as well as some family members on with us today. So welcome, thank you for joining us. You can go to the next slide and actually just skip it, Janelle. We already did the second poll. And then I'll hand it off to you, Janelle, to introduce yourself, and then you can hand it off to Dr. Rhodes.
All right, so hi, I'm Janelle Horton. I am the coordinator of disability support at John A. Logan College down in Carterville, Illinois. We're right next to Carbondale, Illinois. My contact information is on here. I do prefer email. However, I still will talk to you on the phone if you want to call. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. I'll go ahead and pass it on to Dr. Rhodes now, and he can introduce himself.
Thank you, Janelle. My name is Dr. Kirk L. Rhodes, and I represent RLC. I'm the LEC and CTE Success Centers Coordinator. So I gave you 3 acronyms just because we love acronyms. That is the spice of life. So RLC, of course, is Rend College. We're located in beautiful Ina, Illinois. Lots of wonderful agricultural fields, and the Big Muddy Prison is across the highway by verification for sure. In both places, we deal in hope. The LEC is the Learning Enhancement Center. So I have a wonderful staff of about 20 people, from math lab tutors to people who read tests for folks. We try to help our students do their best work. And the CTE, the last acronym I gave you, I am also the Career Technical Education Success Centers Coordinator. That is a really nice, quiet place where we have welding simulators. We have, they're not mannequins. I guess they're lifelike. They're dummies. Go ahead. I said it, so we can practice, the nurses can practice their bedside manner and giving IVs and things. And of course, I run Disabilities Access Services. So it's great to be here with Kirsten and Janelle. Look forward to talking to you all.
Awesome. So we have worked together on this, and we are the people. So we host, our 2 colleges host what's called the Transition Summit, which is an event put on by the Mid-South Transition Plan Committee. So the Transition Summit is a day where we have in-district high school juniors and seniors come to our colleges. So the high schools that are in district to John A come to John A. Logan, and then the high schools that are in district for Rend Lake College go to Rend Lake. We have 2 different days for this. And so when they're here at the Transition Summit, we try to talk to them about all of their different options once they graduate high school. So we talk about college degrees and certificate programs. We talk about employability skills, and we used to talk about the military as well. So this is the itinerary for John A. Logan's Transition Summit. And so we start at about 9 a.m. and we that way it gives them time to get to their school and they get transported to the college. And then it also gives them time to find their seats. And then we provide a little breakfast snack. Well, the Mid-South Transition Plan Committee provides a breakfast snack for them, as well as some water for the day, so that if they are hungry, they do have something to eat. And then we have our keynote speaker, who we typically use, Jeff McGoy. He is a very engaging and he's a great public speaker. And he also works at SIU. So we usually have him come out. The students usually respond very well to him and typically like him a lot. So he starts at 9:10. Then after Jeff talks, then we have our break and we go out into our morning breakout sessions. So the students have the option to choose between a John A. 2-year program or certificate session, or to learn about John A. like associate degrees that then transfer to a university. We usually use SIU because they are the university that the majority of our students do transfer to, and they're close. So that's why they are paired together. So the students who typically go to the certificate or the 2-year program, John A. program session, are the ones who aren't wanting to come and do 4 years at a university. So they may want to go and work instead of come to college, but we have, that way they have a session that they can attend instead of going to hear about college and a university. So in our certificate programs, we have a lot of the hands-on programs like welding, the trades, heating and air, automotive. So students do learn about those programs as well that they may not have known about prior to coming. Then we have lunch. And then after lunch, we do our afternoon breakout sessions. And this is where students will attend both sessions. So they may start at college support and then they'll switch to employability skills. If they started at employability skills, then they will switch to college support. After that, we all group back together and we have our closing remarks and our door prize giveaways. So at these summits, the Mid-South Transition Plan Committee provides door prizes. So as students are engaged and paying attention or asking questions throughout these sessions, they receive a raffle ticket. And then those raffle tickets will go at the end of the day. That's when they go towards the door prizes. Typically, there's a big prize item, such as this year we had one Chromebook at each location, and then we have littler prizes like Walmart gift cards, or here at the John A. one, we provided some John A. things like cups or a couple shirts, things like that. So we'll go a little more in depth here. At the John A. one. So like I was saying, the John A. programs and certificate session talks about different vocational programs. And then it's presented by our career and technical education advisor, as well as a Perkins coordinator. And then that Perkins coordinator is able to talk about what Perkins assistance is available to the students that go into one of these programs or certificates, because all of the students who are here do meet one of the qualifiers where they do have a disability. So it's another resource they may not know about before coming that they are able to learn about. Then in the transfer session with SIU, we have a general advisor who discusses how an associate's degree transfers to a university. And then they talk about different specific programs and how an associate's can transfer into that. And our SIU representative talks about the SIU Carbondale programs that they have if any of the students have any specific questions about SIU specifically. And they also talk about, scholarships that are available to transfer students and how our two colleges and universities can work together to get the students to where they want to be, to their goals. Then in the afternoon, our college support session has staff from financial aid, career services, our John A. Logan Foundation, which is our scholarship office, and then our Student Success Center. So financial aid, a lot of students had a lot of engagement during this session this year. So they really enjoyed having financial aid there, it seemed. And then career services can talk about student work when students come here. And then our foundation talks about how they can sign up for scholarships and how they can sign up, like if they're seniors, they can sign up at this time for scholarships for when they come in the fall. And then I talk about the differences of accommodations in high school versus college, because there is a big difference in the accommodations that are provided, as well as the post-secondary accommodation process, so that students are aware of how it's going to be different than in high school and how they won't just automatically be implemented like they are with their IEP or 504 plan. And then we talk about the responsibilities of students, how it's different in college than in high school, where the responsibility is going to fall on the students now, and it's not going to be, their parents advocating for them. It's going to be the students' responsibility to advocate for themselves. We also had someone from the SIU disabilities office come during this session as well to kind of explain how, if they go straight to SIU, how their accommodations are at SIU. Then in our employability skills, we invite someone from the community. In the past, it's been someone who is a Walmart manager and then a Love's manager. And then this year we had invited the Franklin County clerk, and they talk about, what it takes to get employed. So what they're looking for in a resume, an interview, and what not to wear when you show up to an interview, and how to be most successful when going out to get a job. So now I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Rhodes so he can talk about the Rend Lake College Transition Summit Day.
Thanks a lot, Janelle. And I'm making a point to attend both of our summits because in the big picture, we are, yes, we're two different institutions, but we have the same mission We just want to help our students, especially in this region. It's all hands on deck. And to emphasize this, when I was at the summit at John A. Logan this year, I ran into my own cousin who will be attending John A. Logan and looking to transition into a welding program. He definitely has some learning differences, but I was so happy he was there to get that information. Now, at Rend Lake College, a little further up the highway, again, we're going, I'm going to approach this as a high school special education teacher. We approach all our high schools in our district and say, listen, how about a day or most of the day where we're going to take your students, we're going to give them Pop-Tarts and treats, we're going to feed them pizza, and we're going to have some good educational programming. Sound good? And guess what? A lot of them are like, yeah, I'm all for that. Now, there's a lot of moving pieces. I am not nearly that organized. Our wonderful director, Denise Jones, sets all this up. People like Janelle definitely help contribute and make it smooth. But basically, we've got the kids for half a day. We're going to feed them, and we're going to feed their minds, hopefully. So we start off with Jeff McGoy. I love having Jeff, as Janelle said, because he is from Cairo, Illinois, and he really speaks from that experience, that deep Southern Illinois experience, talking about what it means to, be impoverished, yet not lose sight of your goals and accomplishing it, which he has in a mighty way. He has his own media company. He works at SIU, also has a relationship with them. And it's good for another individual with the bald head and a beard to be seen. I'm always going to be down with that. So Jeff really does a good job for us. Again, we'll have a bathroom break and things. And then for ours, we have representatives talking about the RLC certificates, our degrees, transferring to a university, what that's going to be like. And as you see, we've got students from Benton, West Frankfort, Thompsonville, Trico, Pinckneyville, Oakland, Woodlawn, Christopher, Ziegler-Royalton, Cesar-Valier, Mount Vernon. And another thing is that it's, those students weren't all new to me, because at Rend Lake College, we make it a point to get out there and go see the students. I am learning so much about Southern Illinois. Even though I'm from Carbondale, I lived in Buffalo, New York for 20 years. And now I'm visiting all these high schools I used to play football against. And it's the same thing at every one of them. There are just students and parents in these IEP meetings who need a reminder of hope, what's down the road. So that's what we do, divide them into groups. Lucky to have some wonderful student workers who represent some of these high schools, and they are able to take them around. Next slide, please. All right, so for RLC, Rend Lake College programs and certificates, this year we had our Dean of Applied Science and Technology, Dr. Gabrielle Farner. I thought she spoke well about all the degrees and certificates, but especially the fact that many times our graduates, especially in the applied science and technology programs, such as electrical technician or industrial electrician maintenance, there are like some fine distinctions there, excuse me. They have jobs waiting for them. Continental Tire is one of our largest employers. Okay, so she talks in a mighty way about that. We also wanted to include the STARS Trio program. This is near and dear to my heart. Nathan Biggerstaff runs that here. The reason is, yes, I do have wonderful tutors in my offices that can help students, but this program is for students, let's say, that don't have a whole bunch of money, or they come from a background that places them at a disadvantage. Maybe they're first generation students this gives them a whole nother layer of tutors and support, as well as a sense of community to go to places like St. Louis to the Muni or to a St. Louis Cardinals game, um, you know, to tour different colleges like Southern Illinois University of Carbondale, Southern Illinois University of Edwardsville. So I'm really glad that the students got to hear about that. A lot of times our community colleges, our two-year colleges are very transient in nature. I'm hoping that sense will start to dissipate a little bit more and it will solidify into more of a campus community. I still am hypothesizing that these are some of the effects of the COVID, what COVID did to us. So we'll see. Hey, I can be wrong. Other RLC support services. Why? I talked about disabilities access services. What does that mean? Janelle, I loved how she did it. The difference between what your IEP and medical supports are going to get you in a high school level as opposed to college. In high school, we're kind of going out of our way, making sure you're successful. In college, we're going to go out of our way to make sure you have access to that success. But we do our best to tell our students, you have to do the work. Yes, it is hard, and I know because I read some of those tests. I don't care if it's cosmetology, automotive technology, nursing, truck driving, what have you. What is the old saying? Ain't nothing easy. So, that's the work ethic that has to come from within our students. And we hope that if they can bring that out, and maybe we can help bring that out, that we will have a positive outcome. We'll see. CTE success coaching. One of my colleagues, Emily DeForest, is a wonderful success coach, meaning career technical education programs such as, let's say, CNA, certified nursing assistant. This is something that's really common, doesn't take a lot to get, as far as time commitment. You may be able to do it in a semester or two, and these folks are going to be out here serving us. I might have to bring in a CNA to help with my elderly mother at some point. And I know if they came from one of our programs at John A. Logan or Rend College, I know they're going to do a good job. But our success coach, what Emily does, it's just another layer of saying, hey, how are you doing? Are you studying? Have you tried this? Is there something I can help you with? And that could range, like I said, from just the old study habits. Let's make some, note cards, or, oh, you're having trouble with internet connectivity. Let me put you in touch with our success services. Perhaps there's something we can do to help you, or connect you with DRS or whatever we have to do. So I'm really glad that she does that. We also talked about our apprenticeship program. Tanya Odom actually went to high school with her husband. Such a small world. Anyway, the apprenticeship program, hey, maybe you don't want to be a college professor or go all the way to get a PhD, something like that. Maybe you want to work. And that is wonderful. Have we got a deal for you? Let's say Continental Tire decides to put you on as an apprentice. No, you don't have to live there, and you're not going to be served gruel every day, like back in the medieval times, but you will work there on a schedule, and you will go to school here at Rend College. And at the end of that period, whether it be 1, 2, 3 years, whatever it is, students will receive a certificate back with the full faith and credit of the United States Department of Labor that says, you're a certified electrician or what have you, and you'll have a permanent job, a full-time job with a company like, again, Continental Tire. I just keep saying them because they're like our biggest employers. Also, SIU was kind enough to come. We had Vivian Hardison, who's the assistant director of their disabilities access services. She came, talked about the Associate of Arts, Associate of Science degrees, how that transfers to SIU. A lot of students don't realize, if you have that degree, your stuff is going to transfer, and then sky's the limit. You could just go from there into whatever SIU has to offer. So I think it was important for them to be here. Next slide, please. And then we also talk about employability skills, as Janelle said. We had the Franklin County Circuit Clerk come and discuss what is important out in the field when working. To reinforce that, I'm sure John A. Logan has something similar, but yes, we even have a class called employability skills. Those little things, I just helped last week I helped a student just to walk in my office with their resume. It was wonderful, a thing to do, but you might not, it's not something you just born knowing how to do. You have to be taught these things. So next slide. I think that is it for our summit. Oh, okay. So Janelle, is this where you take back over? Muted. I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. They're talking a lot in the office behind me, so I wasn't sure if you guys could hear it. I can unless you would like to.
Oh, you know what? I'll just talk about this.
Okay.
Hopefully next time we'll have some type of military representation. I got my start in the United States Army. I was active for 3 years, 5 months, 15 days, and the rest with the Illinois National Guard. But I think the military needs to be demystified. It's near and dear to my heart. And there's a wonderful quote in The Hobbit where Bilbo Baggins says, you have to be careful when you step out onto the road, because you all of a sudden you'll be swept off on an adventure. And I went from a small town and almost ended up in smack dab in the middle of the war. These are the things that need to be demystified for our students. We need veterans and maybe, work with, I'm sure, some recruiters we have to help us, but they need really good information. Okay.
So next year we have talked about changes that we would like to make as a committee, because there are, it's always a fluid thing, people, as we implement this more, it's been happening for 11 years now. This was the 11th transition summit. And so each year, you learn a little bit more, or times change a little bit. So some of the things that we are looking at are bringing in representatives from trade programs, and not like trade programs that we already offer, but, trade programs like the unions, because when we are seeing a lot of seniors who are wanting to go to be an electrician or a plumber, or just any kind of trade that you have to go through the union to get to. So that is a whole area that we are currently missing in providing to our students who are coming to this. So we want to open up, some more doors to them. Then, like we have had in the past, is some military representatives, because as Dr. Kirk Rhodes was saying, it is such an important area that students have the option to go and do, and it is a great way for them to, get in to be employed, or just even if they end up making the military their career, whether we can find some veterans to come and talk about their branch, or whether we just have some recruiters come so that students can learn about each of the different branches. Just having that military representation, we think is going to be very important, again, to have that. Then also to make it more interactive, because at least at the John A. Logan Summit, I wasn't able to make it to the Rend Lake College one this year, but at the John A. Logan one, it kind of seemed boring for the students, because it was just a lot of them coming in, sitting, and being talked to, instead of them being able to interact a lot. They were able to interact with questions, but they weren't able to interact with, touching things. So one change that we're looking at making, and I'm trying to figure out how to make it possible at John A. Logan at least, is to bring, instead of having a session on where they talk about the certificate programs, bring in some of the instructors or some of the students that are currently in that program and have them set up a table and be able to, play with the tools that they use or touch, some things, ask students who are currently in that program what they think about it. And maybe even bring in people from that field who are currently working in that field to also talk about it and what they are seeing in the field and everything. So then how do you make this possible financially? So our Mid-South Transition Plan Committee, we charge everybody a $10 fee. So that covers any student or staff from that school. And it covers the lunch, the cost of lunch. We usually do pizza because it's easy. And usually the high schoolers like it. It's not hard to get them to eat it. And then the school that the participant comes from is charged. We do have a co-op that pays for a couple of their schools, but typically it's that actual school paying for the attendees that they're sending. And then we have 2 high schools that they cook the cookies that we use for dessert. So our Marion High School, they have a cooking class that bakes the cookies for the John A. Logan one. And then our West Frankfort High School, they have a cafe. And so they bake the cookies for the Rend Lake College summit. Then one of our co-chairs applies for a grant to help cover the cost of the opening speaker. And then we have donations from local businesses for the door prizes and the participation prizes. So those are like the Walmart gift cards and the things that we use the raffle for. And then, yeah, do you have anything else you want to talk about, Dr. Rhodes? Okay.
No, that is wonderful. I am still learning. So you listen to Janelle.
Oh, I'm still learning too. This was only my second one. So Denise Jones, she is a great contact. We will also answer any questions that you have. If we don't know the answer right away, we will talk to our TPC and find out the answers. So then when planning this, it does take a lot of planning. We meet with the Mid-South TPC. We meet with them monthly when school is in session, so we don't meet over the summer. And we just talk about, what we want to see in our summits this year and, what went well. We usually debrief on that at the meeting after the summits. As well as we have evaluations that we have the staff and students fill out after the summit to kind of see what their thoughts were, because they're the ones that this is geared towards versus, I may have felt it went away, but the students may have a complete different opinion of how it went. So we always do have evaluation forms that the students and the staff fill out afterwards. Then we have our registration forms. They're sent out to the students to take home to get, the parents' signatures, usually in December. And then we ask for them back in January so that we can get that final count on how many people are coming so that we can plan for the food and, the facility setup and everything. We like to have the facilities reserved as soon as possible because here at John A., and I'm sure Rend Lake is the same, it can be difficult to find a day where we can use the facilities, especially if you need quick notice. So if you're trying to set one of these up, I would recommend doing it as soon as you get a date. Try to reserve the facilities. Then payments are supposed to be in before the summit happens so that we can pay for everything. And we like to have our speakers confirmed also as soon as possible. So I know for the speakers that we're using from John A., I will usually, once we determine, which sessions we want, I'll reach out to the people that I think would be good for that session as soon as we figure that out. So this year I reached out to the John A. staff in October, I believe, October or November, and I sent them calendar invites for the day. And I reminded them monthly because our calendars here at the post-secondary level fill up very fast, especially where this is, in the middle of a semester. We are trying to, we're in the meat and bones of the semester, so we can fill up very fast. So getting the speakers confirmed as soon as possible is vital. So then for the day of the event, we give each student and teacher a folder with different important materials. And so these materials include information from the college. So we provide, like the Student Success Center flyer, FAFSA information, like tips on how to fill out the FAFSA, and then also a campus map for each college, Rend Lake and John A. And then we provide information about SIUC's Evaluation and Development Center, which that is a center where students who may not be college bound yet, or who may not quite be ready to live independently or go and get a job, they can go to the EDC and learn those skills. So learn some skills for getting an entry-level job, or how to live independently. They have a driver's ed program. So we give them information about the SIU EDC, or Evaluation and Development Center. We also provide information on the Department of Rehab Services. So we give the offices that are local, and then which one, like their contact information for which counties, so who they would contact.
Janelle, I just wanted to interject here that, yes, we do all of this, and we try to have a nice piece of tactile or kinesthetic kit, as the Brits would say. So last year we had Southern Illinois Healthcare gave us some base like first aid kits and hand sanitizer and things. This year we had folders that the students, to me they kind of look like a trapper keeper. I don't know what they were, but you could use them to keep track of your stuff and organize. And a lot of our students that are coming are not that organized because executive functioning is not their thing. So we try to combine a whole lot with that.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So with those folders, we have some very creative people on in our TPC. And so they're clear folders, but they're color coded. So each this organization is not my fault. I'm not good at it. So all the organization comes from all of the other people in the TPC. That's not me. So they thought of, we have these folders that are different colors. Well, let's make sure that each school has their own color so that the teachers could easily keep track of their school's folders. And then where they're clear, they thought of putting the schedule for the day, the itinerary, so that it was face out, so that nobody had to pull it out of their folder. They could just flip their folder over and there was the schedule of where they were supposed to be. So the TPC is amazing, and they're very creative and organized, and it's amazing what they think of. And so this next one is a perfect example as well. Oh, not the job seeking. We also add that into the folder as well. And then so what I was gonna say was that they came up with to put on the tables. So in our facilities, they have tables that they sit at when they come in the morning and for lunch. So they are designated by their high school's mascot so that they know exactly where to go. And it's a very easy, simple way to get them to where they need to be. So this job seeking information that we put in the folders is just information on, like those interview skills again, and things like a resume. So things that we feel are important in helping the students get a job. So our Mid-South Transition Plan Committee consists of our co-chairs Denise Jones, who is our Tri-County Special Education STEP Coordinator, and Becky Jones, who's our Franklin Jefferson Special Education STEP Coordinator, our Treasurer Amber Thompson from Williamson County Education Services, and she's the Transition and STEP Coordinator. And then just some other people, so like Dr. Rhodes and I. We have representatives from the Department of Rehabilitative Services, SIU's EDC, which we had talked about, and then different high school special education teachers. The Southern Illinois Center for Independent Living sends representatives. And then there's an organization called Opportunities for Access, which is more in Rend Lake College's district. They have an organization that they send representatives from as well. So if you are thinking about, you want to maybe start a transition summit or a day that is similar to the transition summit, but you don't know where to start, I'd recommend contacting your local transition plan committee or your local college or university's disability office. I know post-secondary education, we're always being asked for new ways to recruit students, and this is a very good way to do it, as well as to offer opportunities for students outside of college in general, because we know that not everybody is college bound or wants to go to college. So that's why we feel it's so important to provide all of their opportunities for when they graduate high school and transition out. So I know we had one question already about how to apply from out of state. Do you want to go ahead and take that, Dr. Rhodes, or do you want me to?
Well, I tried to answer it in the discussion, but
okay.
I might have mischaracterized the question. I don't know if that's going to do it. I just would say contact Denise Jones, and I put her contact in the chat.
Okay, yeah. And then so if you're Zara, I hope I'm saying that correctly. If you're wanting to apply, if you're talking about applying to the colleges from out of state, we are open colleges, so we take anybody, so you just have to apply and you automatically get in. If you're wanting to apply for the summit, then yes, do what Dr. Rhodes said and definitely contact Denise Jones. Do we have any other questions? I'll go ahead and stop the sharing of my screen now.
There isn't any other ones in the chat. No.
Okay. Awesome. Well, if anybody has any questions further, always feel free to reach out to either me, Dr. Rhodes, or Denise Jones. We can all answer your questions for you and would be very happy in doing so. Yeah, so we just thank you for watching our webinar today.
Thank you so much, Janelle and Dr. Rose. I'm going to go ahead and close us out. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We'll give everyone a couple more minutes as I'm talking in case there's an extra question that pops up. Sometimes that happens. Just a couple of housekeeping reminders is that today's webinar is being recorded. And the recording will be up on our autismcollegeandcareer.com website. We'll go ahead and put that in the chat here right now. And then also we do have a follow-up survey, and that will be in your follow-up email along with the website tomorrow. So we welcome your participation in that. I can actually get the link for the survey really quickly too. I know when I'm taking when I watch a webinar, sorry, I can't talk and get the survey link at the same time. I know when I'm watching a webinar, I always like to take a follow-up survey right away because otherwise I won't do it. You know, the next day comes and, you know, that day fills up. So let me get that for everyone in case you want to take it right now. Sometimes being timely with our surveys is the best way to get that participation. So that's in the chat for everyone now. And then I just want to thank Dr. Rhodes and Janelle for their time and their preparation, sharing this information with the system. I think it's greatly beneficial. And again, today's session is recorded, so feel free to share it with any of your colleagues, family members, community members who you think would benefit from this information. And then I'll just invite Dr. Rhodes or Janelle, if you have any closing comments, feel free.
Okay, well, I will just say for the record that Janelle Horton at Johnny Logan College is the epitome of organization, and I am the antithesis of such, but we work together for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Rhodes. What a perfect way to end the webinar. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Bye.